Okay, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's U-Turn again, a podcast where friends and I discuss topics related to our community. And today's topic is on scamming in relationship. Our contributors today are Achiewa Alier and Lisa Deet. Actually, Lisa Deet is a special guest. She has not been on the U-Turn, but we actually invited her for this particular talk because she is passionate about personal development as it relates to impacts in relationship and everything else. So we're bringing you hot ideas that will brighten your days. I hope you enjoy, like, share, and comment under the post for this conversation to continue. So back to the table, ladies. It's on relationship, it's on scamming. I'll start with you, Lisa Deet. Why do people scam each other in the name of relationship? In fact, in the name of love?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And the way I would like to approach that is people scam each other for reasons that are mainly personal, When people have issues, let's say many a times it's economical, uh, people do not have resources that they would like to have for whatever, let's say, projects they would like to take advantage of, or even for lifestyle. In most cases, then they start to look around and to see what would be the best way to get what they want, the easiest way. And you will agree, all of you, ladies, both of you ladies here will agree with me that many times the easiest way to get something or to get resources is when you have gotten the heart muscle of anybody. It could be a man, it could be a woman. When you have gotten control of their heart muscle, you can easily, for lack of a better term in this sense, swindle what they have, because they will have all their boundaries down, all their gates, especially the financial gate, open. That is, if we are talking about scamming in terms of financial. Scamming happens too when someone takes away your time, takes away your energy, takes away your other resources such as trust, comfort. You open your door to an individual. It could be a friend, it could be a romantic partner, and maybe they had no interest whatsoever. Because what we consider as a scam is when someone takes away something from you that you had not thought would be taken away. Let's talk about, let's say, romantic relationships. When you get into a romantic relationship, the aim is always to be comfortable, to be loved, to be happy. And then you end up realizing that all the aspirations you had for that relationship are not there. You are actually losing more than you are gaining, or you are giving more than you're getting. The reciprocity part is not there. So you end up being depleted and the other person growing, which is not the way relationships are supposed to be. It's supposed to be a two-way. That person gets something from you and you get something from someone. But that imbalance, when that imbalance comes into play, that becomes a scam. Yeah. So mainly it's ill informed, if I'm to go back to why. Many times inauthentic, when someone goes into a relationship inauthentically for the reasons known to them, and they play out different dynamics to the person they want to pull in to take whatever they want to take from them. So then that what forms a scam. It's the inauthenticity for going after whatever they want, more pledging to show what they think their recipient would accept, while the real reason as to why they're coming in is completely hidden away. Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa Deet. You actually opened my mind to different aspect of this scamming thing. I wasn't actually thinking from the perspective of even trust. You can be vulnerable, that you can be scammed because of trusting. So your trust can be scammed, your time is scammed, your energy. So even people is, I didn't even know. This is getting interesting. We will come back to that topic later. But I just wanted to just angle it from the perspective of romantic relationship. I know also from family relationship and from different areas where these scandals happen in relationship. I want to come to Achia, but I'll come back to you on the same topic to expand on some of the critical point that you raised. I just wanted to bring it back to our community, Achia, and considering the lost boys of South Sudan, are they really vulnerable to being scammed in terms of energy, in terms of love, all the things that Lisa did mention?
Thanks for inviting me today again, Afal. In my opinion, I would say lost boys are the most vulnerable when it comes to scamming. And I believe it goes back to the trauma that they've been exposed to. Imagine having to leave your family at young age and having to go through what they went through. We all know about it, right? Coming to America and start a new life. And in that moment, it's time for you to find love, and they feel when they have that love, they want to maintain it by all means, but something new, something they have never had before. So in return, they tend to give more than they're receiving, right? And the girls or the partners at the end of at the receiving end are most of them are not empowered, right? And if the family members cannot provide what the lost boys are providing, then by all means they will take advantage of that. I'm not saying it's something that is good, but it's how the nature is anyway, right? Most of the time, these women or these partners, especially the girls that they are coaching at that time, they create cases or scenarios. For example, they would be demanding the school fee to be paid, the medical care to be paid, the upkeep to be sustained by the lost boy, right? And what I said before, the lost boy want to maintain these relationships because they feel it's at that moment they are in love. So they would do all these, but in the end, the girls at the other end, they channel these resources or these money into the other use, right? They don't utilize it for what it was purposely meant for, right? When it comes to lost boys and let's talk about the married women, like the wives back in East Africa. I wouldn't say it's scamming, rather it's information asymmetry, right? Although the party with less information in this case is the one benefiting more than the one that is most of the time the lost boys they're not honest with their wives. They don't disclose their living standard here in America. And even me, if someone give me that impression that they have it all, I would keep on demanding. And I believe the lack of dishonesty, on the side of the lost boys has created this high demand on the wife side. And in the end, they end up being exploited. Imagine having to work 3 to 4 jobs just to sustain that. It's draining physically, and it's also draining financially. And when it comes to family level too, the scammings happen. The lost boys are vulnerable because I'm gonna talk from young. I heard there's a story, no cousins get off, and then when lost boy I taught me, and then till cousin they till were in trust with his project. I call me Pandebi, Pandebi in not East Africa, in Juba, and then this lost boy would keep on sending money, and yung uchi money till aloy locally thing number 2. When he went back home, I didn't buy it. It's not a good thing, and I really believe the lost boys are really vulnerable, and it's from it all goes back to the trauma they have been exposed to. They're looking to please everyone, and they're looking to please their wives too. They want because these wives are young and they want to call big a norm. So they just keep on giving, and in the end, nobody cares about it. It's something that, yeah.
That's very interesting. That is totally how a person uh, building a project in Juba and ended up there was no project, no money, and there's a wife there, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's very interesting. I'll come back to you,
I
Lisa.
would like to add something, sorry, just to cut you there, because what Achille has explained is spectacular and it is not happening to a single person. That person's story is happening across the board. And we were talking about being scammed in romantic relationships. She has brought about being scammed by family members, parents, and siblings. Scam, because what the scam is something that is done outside of what was agreed to be done, right? Um, you have talked about the trauma, and we also talk sometime when we discuss different scenarios, like when we talk with you discussing different things, something that comes up is this: for most of us, and starting from Lost Boys, I do not consider myself one of the lost, I don't know, lost girls. I'm not, because I only concentrate on the 1987 team, that majority that went to the US as the Lost Boys. But whatever affects them trickles down to us too. One thing that I wanted to say is this: um, for the Lost Boys and us too, we left Africa, we left Kenya, we left South Sudan, knowing the situation on the ground. Let me talk about example of a family. You leave your family, you know the situation your family is in, and you come out here to look after, to look for opportunities, to get resources, to help, let's say, your parents, your siblings, or even your extended relatives to to get into a better position. So that's your entire mindset. You come here, work hard, and because you are working hard, you get some money, and you have that drive that got you to working that hard. You send back the money for for people to get to better life and maybe run some projects that will help you, because we notice that we cannot work forever. So we want to have projects that are going to help this very family. But then some of the family members don't get it. They don't get it completely. They get excited with the little money, the $5,000 that has been sent. They get excited with that. They start doing their side things. This is what we call scamming. This is truly a scam. And we have to talk about it, because if your brother does this and like my brother has scammed me, I'm calling it scam. People at home refuse to call it a scam, even if that was my mother. They use money for a different thing, and they don't even tell you. They just feel entitled to go ahead and do whatever they want to do with it. And then you tell them, okay, right, this was not what was supposed to be done. This is a scam. And just leave it. Keka family, family issues and what have you. Cousins do it and what have you. This is what we call scam. We do things, or Lost Boys did things. Examples of kids like us that were taken to school, people were camping in lodges with their school fees, instead of going to school. And they were acting as if the Lost Boys or the guys were stupid. No, that was a big scam. It's the heart of wanting to help and alleviate the situation. That authenticity that is what was lacking, and it's still lacking today. And it is good that we are talking about it right now. That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. And I just want to ask something. You have to bring in more points that are very exciting here and things that happen in our community. So, for example, if someone, there are a lot of events, there are people hosting Juba, and they go and open people's mouths, and they put a lot of pledges, and then they come and ask people from abroad, the Lost Boys or immigrant like us, to go and pay for those pledges. Will you consider that as a scam too? Like they are preying on the relationship to benefit them?
Yep.
It's them who are getting the reputation and recognition. Someone else has to finance it.
Yeah. In one way, yes. In the other way, yes. It's a scam when they have, I send you money and then you go out and you go away with that phrase. You literally stole my thunder. So in that way, it's a scam. It's also stupidity, in my opinion.
But they come, they say they are sick, but it's because of the
Yeah. No, it's stupid because what is opening someone's mouth? Like they will talk whatsoever. If you sat here and there's a function, let them get up and say whatever they have to say. This it's our Dinka pride, you know. There is what we call empty and very disastrous pride that we have at Dinka, and we keep building on it every year. And now, especially for the women, we have gotten to a point where we are doing that, and you can see the competition. The generation of my mother, it made sense, but for our generation right now, no, I don't understand. But you know, people have different ways. People have different, I mean, motivations as to why they do things. Sometimes, if you want to feel relevant, or you and relevant in the sense that you want more people to talk about what you have done. It's I have no better way to put it in English, but I will try. A long time ago, or even the recent case of Tingjulu God, you know,
Oh,
yeah, and they
Tichelor
will be,
Lodge? Yes, I
yeah,
want to clarify.
Lumbelimi
Follow
on
the
it.
Akurur. I
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, there was a case of a woman buying the Wengde, the cow Wengde yet somewhere. I think that was something that happened with the Twi East community, and you know the aim is so that more people can talk. You know, this is something people, you know, it really hold highly in our community, and it's the variation that used to be men. Men did that a lot because they were the ones with resources. Today, women have access to their men's resources because it's money, men are away, and they don't have anything to do. So, to be relevant, come up with so many social activities, give money, and then people will talk, oh, I did give 5,000 US dollars. You know, she's the one that has given much. And then every other woman there is going to put pressure on themselves to, to either outdo me so that they can be talk of the town. You know, it's variations of what used to happen but are still carrying on right now. But the conversation should come from who is feeling the pain, you
Mhm.
know, who is feeling the pain, who is being scammed in this case, or if if I have to pay the money, then that thunder has to be mine. In that's one. Or if there is no thunder, because again, this like makes no sense, because there are other pressing issues. You know, we could go into a completely different tangent to discuss. We would rather focus on things that make sense than this. But again, this is what they enjoy. Human beings, if we don't have something relevant that we do, would look for relevance in so many ways. So we understand, like when I see these things, I sympathize. I know this is looking for relevance, and it is a human need, you know. So yeah.
Wow, I will come back. I will come back to that. Thank you for grounding that from that perspective. I want to come back to Achiel. You
Mm.
know, there's a recent story that just sprang, and I, for disclaimer, we don't have all the facts, but there is this story of Mariak or Nyariak. Maybe she is a real woman who really fall in love. But there are other stories that have been happening in our community where, you know, online people clone other people identities and use other people identity to beg for money, to scam other people of money. Is it something that you have seen happening, and how, what do you, can you categorize this as a scam from relationship perspective, or is this like criminal case, is our liar, we don't have to discuss? I just want to bring it back. And what other examples that are, might not be relevant to Lost Boy, but other phenomenon that affect other people?
Well, I do not want to dwell on that story of Maria because I'm not sure about his or her identity or sexual orientation. Let me put it that way. And uh, physically, she looks like a girl, and uh, people are saying it's a boy. So I wouldn't want to dwell on that because I do not have facts in my hands. But it's not the only case of. I haven't seen these in our community before, to be honest, whereby people clone themselves and scam Lost Boy or anyone. most of the time what our community people do or what our people do, it just sense like they have sense of entitlement. And so they just ask for what they want. And if you deny them that, they will create cases that you will sympathize with them. As I said before, they will create stories of being sick. And non quite by the way. How do you call it? In your community, they will want to use that to come and get money from you, right? And so it's complicated for now. We'll talk about it when we have all the facts in our hands. But quite our people are always scam in in a way that they put you in a situation where you have to sympathize with them. Let me just put it that way, right? Could be area let me say even work right. Let's go get away from the lost boy perspective. Work always came in a way that because work or book we have work or book with the people work or book all these other things, right? So I haven't seen it in our community whereby people clone themselves to scam us, but the scamming is there. They create scenarios or situation where you have to sympathize with them. So that's what my take on that.
Thank you. That guilt giving, so I will bring it back to Lisa D to comment on it. So it looked like, the fact that we are coming from a place where there is need, and we usually have the trauma and the height to help, and we, feel pressure to give because we feel guilty we don't give anything up, and someone can fake sickness, as I keep saying. Is this something that we should be worried, Lisa did? Is this trend something that is becoming a big thing in our community, where people guilt trip you, their family members, their romantic partners, their friends?
It's not something that is becoming, it's something that has been there. And we are very good, by the way, at playing the way Jian, especially Jian Boer, the way they play with heart muscles is like the way a skilled guitarist would play with the strings of a guitar. People come up with stories where I end up like the stories where I've ended up crying, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I need all the money so that I can solve problems. There's so many problems out there, but there is an angle. You've asked if we should be worried and if there's something that needs to be done. The truth is, there's something that my dad said someday is that suffering and singing about suffering won't clear it, It's suffering and deciding to take action that will clear it. The truth is, we all suffer. We all have issues, And if we don't get stoic about these issues and solve them instead of singing about them and just wanting other people to solve them, that's a problem. There's one thing that we do, and this also goes to Lost Boys and even us now, lessons that we're learning from things that have happened, is enabling. When someone cries to you today, well, you can help, if you are in a position to. There is a statement about, I can help where I can, or I will help where I can. It doesn't mean pulling your house down so that you can help, because the onus is on that person too, to try to do something within their ability to try to solve whatever problem they have, instead of guilt tripping other people. And the problem is not even in asking for help. The problem is in expecting to be helped. And when you don't help, it is an issue. You find your name being played out there like the way the little kids play with football. That's how you find your name being kicked around in people's mouths. And sometimes I sit down with them and I'm like, you are playing with my name like that. But what are you doing with your name? You that is sitting here, not trying to come up with a solution, because sometimes you have a problem and you want me to solve. No, I'm not talking about money only. Even the energy, like wanting me to take my time to think about your problems to solve them for you is an issue. You know, you are supposed to think, come up with a strategy of how we're going to solve it, and then let me know where I come in. Ajit, you are going to help me on point A. This is where you help me. I will do A, B, C, and D. That's a strategy that helps. But just coming to cry to me and you want me to take, so it becomes my issue to think through at night. Then in the morning, I wake up and write down what to do. And then I go to the bank and send money. And then I call you or I have sent money, do A, B, C. And I'm literally doing the whole putting off a fire that sometimes, most of the time, they actually caused it themselves. That's something we should be worried about.
Yeah, what do you think? This is someone just create problem, bring and put it on you, and should we be worried? What do we need to tell them?
I would base my argument on the case of the Lost Boys. Um, um, for us, I think we have all the resources to navigate this issue. Like we are not as vulnerable as Lost Boys, so I would love to focus on the Lost Boys. I believe I wouldn't recommend on what they have to do, but I would just say that the Lost Boys right now, most of them are in their 50s. Like Baba. Most of them are in their 50s and having wives that have not been empowered, most of them, right?
Mhm.
And most of them have not gone to school and they're working hard jobs. So it will reach a point whereby they cannot do this manual job anymore. And if they cannot do that, who is going to sustain their families, you know? Who is going to take those children to school? Who is going to pay for their medical care and all that? That's something, if there's a lost voice that is going to listen to this, it's something that you need to think about. What is the long-term effect of what you are doing by just sending or allowing yourself to be scammed or not having to empower your woman. And for our communities back home, I feel like they have to empower the women, because if these women, these ladies that are being thrown into relationships with the lost boys are young without any empowerment. And I believe if they get the empowerment that it's required, they will not be in a position to like exploit other people, you know.
Yeah.
And to lost boys too, I believe they need to be honest, like be explicitly honest with your spouse. Tell them what you do, what is your living standard here, and so that they can adjust the expectation, you know.
Yeah.
If they explicitly disclose their living standard, yeah, I believe biar kena de kalui expectation can or demand de kalui cake drop. And for family members, it's something that you need to filter the needs, right? You have to filter the needs from the least, from the most the emergency one or the priorities to the least. And you have to hold them accountable to, for example, if you give someone a project to do it for you, you need to get to the ground and follow up with how it's being done, what is being put into it. If it's school fee that you are sending, get down with the school faculty and talk to them, get to know what the amount that you have to send every day, because sometimes they do, and you just be sending money like thinking that that's the actual money that you are. And if it's medical care, get down with the doctors too, or the medical facility that they are being taken, so that you, at the end of the day, you don't get scammed. And in love, you don't have to like be desperate. If they cannot love you for not giving, then it's not love, you know. Just remember that I think I told those boys, we're not 50s. You don't have to like